Alright, so for lift 3, we're back for lift 3. So the previous video we created this lift here, so you can go up and down, right? So you can just press it, and these buttons are parented to the lift. Also, you can send the lift up and down. You can also move. You can have additional buttons at the top of the platform. So if you wanted to add the buttons up here, you could add them also to you can put those up and down arrow buttons up here as well. So if the lift was down here, if we send the lift down, oh, I tried to jump off before it went down. But if we add the buttons up here on the platform, like so, boom, then you can also control that from above as well. So that was in the previous video. Anyway, and on this next video, like I said, we're going to create a third lift. So this one will work completely differently. So it will have multiple floors. And what we'll do is we're going to go from ground floor to first floor to the second floor, right? So let's get started on that. Let's start creating the logic for this, and we'll build over here. So let's add another floor. So let's just duplicate this, Control D, and I'll bring this down. So this will be our other floor that we're going to stop at. And we don't need it to go across the entire map. We can just say this is like a smaller floor. There we go. Okay, and we'll just put that lift here. Okay, so what we can do is go to our content window. Let's copy these to save us a little bit of work. We'll copy lift 2, so Control C, and go to lift 3 folder and paste this. So now we have something to work with. Just rename this to 3, so you don't end up working in the wrong blueprint and editing the wrong one. So it's a different name. And I'm going to rename these. I'm going to duplicate one of these like that. All right. And I'm going to rename these buttons. All right. And we're also going to change them. So this first button, this will be our ground floor button, right? So instead of down, I'm just going to say _G. Right. Let's duplicate this. So, and I'll change in the event, I'm going to change that to BP lift 3 because that's what we want to control. We don't want to control lift 2. We want to control lift 3. And we're going to delete that action for now. We're going to put a new custom event in here once we create it in the lift. But hit compile and save. You can also go to the viewport and change that to say G, and just reset. If you're using the arrow, you can reset that. Anyway, there you go. Oh, maybe I should just use this world scale. There we go. Compile, save. So we've got a ground floor button. Let's do this next one. So let's do the first floor. Rename this again. And then it's _1. So that's going to be 1. Let me rename this one too. I'm going to rename this one as well while we're here. Come on, rename. There we go. 2. So on 1, the same thing. We can delete that. This will be BP _lift 3. Go to the viewport. This will be 1. I'll say a 1, giant 1. Compile, save, and again, this one, lift the button, lift 2. So again, lift 3. So that's now lift 3. You can delete that until we'll add the call in once we create those custom events. Like I said, and the viewport, change that to 2. You want to scale this down, of course, and move this up. There we go. So compile, save. I'm going to close lift 2 just so we don't get confused. Make sure that's not getting in the way, and just double click lift 3. So lift 3, we have child actors, right? So we have the child actors of the previous buttons. So that's fine. We can leave these in. we just need to change the actor child actor class. But let's also add a third button in here. So duplicate this. Okay, and I'll move this up. So let's see. So this button here, I'm just going to call ground. So GBTN. So this is the ground button. This one will be 1 BTN. So that's the first floor button, and this one will be 2 underscore BTN. Okay. So we got. Can I reshuffle the order? No, it doesn't let me reshuffle. But you can see that's the second floor, first floor, whatever. So let's just assign these buttons. So here we know what buttons we want to assign, which is the lift BTNG, right, for the actor. So lift button ground, which will be the ground. This one will be lift button 1, and this one will be lift button 2. Where's lift button 2? Lift button 2. So you can see now we just reused our existing assets, so we don't have to rebuild everything from scratch. We're just updating this, we're updating which buttons are controlling it. So this is already ready for us to use. Now we can go to our event graph, and what we're going to do is actually get rid of all of this. We don't need any of it. All right, we're going to build a new whole blueprint, so we're going to delete that. All right. We also don't need the lift position. We don't need to know. We're just going to delete this, right? And I'm going to create a new variable, and this is going to be go to. We're going to go say go to floor. Right, we're telling it what floor we want it to go to, and we'll set it as a float. All right, so we need our lift component, so this will be our lift. So this is the lift. Anything that's parented to that lift, so everything here will move. It will move together, right? And we want to control the z value like before, right? We're gonna have the start end point. So we don't have an end point anymore. So we're gonna have floors. So we can name these arrows. Let's duplicate this. So we have 3 arrows. So this one will be G. Let's just call this G point. We'll keep them point, and we just change them to this is 1 underscore point and 2 point. There we go. So there's your 3 arrows. Your set that we'll use to set the 3 levels, right? So G will always be at 0, and 1 and 2 you can set those heights. Right. Anyway, so in our event graph we have the lift, all right. And what we want the lift to do is we want to control, like I said, the Z position. So we're going to get a move component to, right? And we want set the target relative location, right? So we're going to split this. And we know we want just the Z. So our component is going to be the lift, right? Which we want. And we want custom events to move this, right? But we need to set these. We need to say what value is this, right? So from our go to floor, we're going to say get. So we're getting what variable we're going to set is going to come from the floor, and that just goes into the Z, right? That. So that's all we need to do for this. So the component goes in here, and the go to floor. So we're going to create a custom event. Hopefully I'm making sense. And this will be call lift. Let's call this say call lift G. So call lift to ground floor, and then we're going to add another one, custom event, call lift, and then this will be to the first floor, so 1, and again call custom event, call. I'll do a capital C there. call lift underscore 2. So when we press the button, we're gonna call these events, and we want to set the height of where we want the lift to go, which floor we want to go. All right. So we're gonna grab our go to floor, and we're gonna say set. Now what we're gonna do is copy, Control C, Control V, and paste. So we need 3 of these, and then these just go into here. We just feed these into the set. So they will set these values. So you can see here we have a value now. So for example, if I set 10, 50, 500. Right now we're just setting them. We're not using the arrows right now. We're just setting them manually. And we're going to link these to the move, like so. So when we fire a event, it sets the value to 10, which then the go to floor is setting the location, right? And then it'll tell this is the location I want you to go to, move to it, and this is the component lift. And we want to say ease in and out. And over time, we want it to take 2 seconds to get to from 0 to whatever value we've set it to. Right? Actually, this leaves let's leave the custom one 0 at G. Leave that as 0. This one will be 50 and 100 because the ground floor is just 0. All right. Hit compile, save. Now for this to work, we need to also go back into our buttons and say what event we're calling now from that lift. So if we say call, and we're going to say for the lift button 1, we're going to say lift, call lift 1. So that's the event we're calling. So when we press 1, it's going to call this event. Compile, save, and we're going to do the same for the other buttons. So 2, call lift 2, and link that the same. Then you're going to hit compile, save, and then the last one, the ground floor, call lift G, compile, and save. So that should be it. So if we also hop onto our lift, so we drag our lift out, let's just place it here. Let's make sure we don't collide with, let's move it up so we don't collide with the actual thing, but we are close to it. There we go. Let's move it here. So if we hit play and then we go up to our lift, we should be able to go between 0, 50, and 100. Those fixed values, right? And it's a different way of doing the animation. So we're saying we're moving to a component and moving to a value, and we're using the move to component rather than the add timeline. But it's just a different way of doing it. So if I hit 1, it'll take 2 seconds from us to get from, say, the value 0 to 50, which is very small. And then if I go from 1 to 2, this is 500, and it takes us 2 seconds again for us to do that. But you can see it works. So we went from 1 to 2 from the ground as well. So anyway, so we know the logic's working. All right. So next, let's now set up our arrows so we can, without typing it, we can just place our arrows where we want the lift to go to, which floor. So let's go back in here. So this is pretty easy as well. It's straightforward. So we're going to just get our 3 arrows. Boom. All right. Just kind of order them correctly. Okay. Actually, let's move them up like this. Let's move them up over here, and move this, like, space them out, like so. There we go. All right. So here I want to say get world trans. We want to get the world location. That's it. Get world location. Right click and split. All right, let's make this add a little space there. There we go. So I want to split. I'm going to copy this. Control V, Control V, and then the target will just link to each arrow. And all we need is we want to get the Z value of where the arrow is. We don't need the X and Y, we just need the Z. And we just link that to where we typed in go to floor. So instead of us typing it in now, we're taking the position of our arrow and we're updating the go to floor. All right. So we set by in the editor when we move the arrows, this sets the floor. Then when we fire it, it will go to whatever position over whatever duration you want. So if you want, you can promote this to a variable over time and maybe say call this lift speed, and you can just expose that. So hit compile, save. So by default, it's going to be at 2, but if you want it to like take 10 seconds for your lift to reach its destination, or 5 seconds, or how fast that lift is, so you can change that outside. So now, if we close this, and we hit play. Oh, no, it won't work, because they'll all be set to 0. I forgot. Move the arrows, remember. So we're going to go to our arrows. So now we've got our points here. So ground is going to be at 0. Then I'll say the first floor, I'm going to move up to here. So this is our first floor. I've set our first floor now. And the second floor is going to be now set to this. So it gives you that flexibility. So if you got different heights, you can tell the lift go to this height or that height within your world, and by just dragging those arrows, and it should go to those floors. So if I hit play now, and we hop on the lift, let's walk over there. I'm gonna sprint, so it takes we get there quicker. Okay, let's go to floor 1. We can get off on floor 1, floor 2. There we go. We want to go to ground floor and skip floor 1. We just go to G. So we're going to hit straight to G. There we go. We can go straight to the second floor and skip the first floor, or you can go straight to the first floor. There you go. If I hit first floor, it won't do anything because we're already on the first floor. And same if I hit second floor, we're already on the second floor. Same. So it works. And what you can do as well is you can also put each button's floor, each floor, like the button. So G, if I put a G here and 1 on that one and 2 on that one, I can call the lift to that floor as well. So for example, just to show you, so if the lift was to go up, or it started at the top and I wanted to call it back down, then I can put G up here. I'm just going to put these, they're going to be huge, but just so you can see. And 2, and let's hit play. And then I can go to the whatever button. So let's take the lift up on the other one. So we'll take the lift up on here. So we'll say, let's go up. Okay, let's go over here to our other lift, our new lift that we created. And we say, okay, the lift, we know this down there, right? We want to call it to level 2. Now it comes to level 2. So if we go to level 1, now we can go to level 1. If I hit G and try to, let's see if I can jump off before it goes down. Whoop. There we go. Okay, now I'm stuck on the first floor. So say the lift has gone down to ground and I want to call it to first floor. I can call it to the first floor. And then say I want to go down. Again, let's send this up to the second floor, for example. So if it started up the second floor now, I can hit G, call the lift down. So there it goes. So we have a lift mechanic that you can use to get you up and down in the world. So we've created 3 different types of lifts. A really basic one. So this one's probably the most. The blueprint's more simple because we're just saying move component. We're not doing any animation. But you could again use the same logic to create this. You can use the move component too instead of the timeline. I just wanted to show you different ways of controlling objects or animating them and moving and interacting with them with different nodes. So it's not, you don't have to do it this way and you don't have to do it that way. You can have your own logic. There's a million ways to do different logic. It's entirely up to you how you use your logic. But yeah. But we've got three different types of lifts. Hopefully that was useful. Um, and that's it with the lifts. I might come back to the lifts just to update um the actual visual aesthetics, like the mesh. Maybe I'll put a lift box and some more fancy buttons. But I'll leave that side up to you, on your end to. I'll leave that side. I won't show you how to do that because it's a great way to learn how to apply it to your own models and stuff. But the functionality is there, so you know how to do the functionality. It's just making it look nice visually. Um, but yeah, we've got three lifts, so I'll leave that up to you. And the next video, hopefully you'll see a visual update on the lifts, and they'll be a bit more fancier. All right, have a great day, night, evening. Bye bye. Thank you again.